Kanan Kapila, you beautiful ray of light. Welcome to this kitchen table conversation, my girl. I,
Thank you.
I gotta tell you, I was thinking about you this morning, and I was this common theme that comes up for me, which is how I can self-isolate when I
Mhm.
feel overwhelmed by the world, and how I've had to really be intentional to push myself out of that and to stand in rooms when invited to, if it feels right, instead of my knee jerk reaction of trying to make up an excuse. And so I was thinking about how you and I came into each other's orbit and the beauty in being intentional on the rooms you stand in and who you stand beside. Do you remember how we came into each
I
other's
do
world?
remember. Yeah, it was so organic, wasn't it? How we got
Mm,
together.
it
Yeah,
was.
it was so organic in a sense that, you came in for a meeting, and I guess you'll go into how that happened, but you were sitting next to me to my left, and I just felt this energy being pulled to talk to you, you know? So, yeah.
Oh, so y'all, Deb Looney, who has become a friend through a mutual friend of Jen
Mhm.
Fisher, came into my orbit. Wouldn't you know, we're both Northeasterners and we run into each other in London at this World Happiness Summit. And she was telling me about what she's doing with this first ever of its kind social well-being place. And I was like, dang, girl, like I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part of you. And so after that event, she invited me to see this beautiful place called Loopwell, which
Mhm.
I'll link in the show notes. Y'all can check it out. And it's right outside New York City. And I made the trip up there. And as I was sitting at this table in this beautiful room, surrounded by badass women, as we were eating lunch, I'll never forget it. I even remember what I was wearing. That's the power of these moments. To my right was Kanan. And and then this conversation took this beautiful direction in 5 minutes. And I was salivating and I said to her, girl, you got to come on the podcast.
Yeah. Thank you so much, because energy is infinite, right?
Mm,
So our time together was finite on that day, but the energy that we kind of cultivated is really infinite that led us to this moment right now.
mm, I love that. And
Continue
before,
going. Going to continue going.
yeah, and before we get into all of the beauty of what we want to unpack, I would love to give you the space to have us get in the right energy set for this conversation and do a quick meditation. Do you feel comfortable doing that?
I would love that. And I would be honored to lead a short meditation. That would be great. That would be a good way to just get everyone grounded. Yeah, absolutely. Should I start now?
Please.
All right. So go ahead, and wherever you are in your space right now, just be comfortable. Anchor your feet onto the ground if you're sitting on a chair. If you're sitting on a couch, you could even cross your legs. Just be comfortable. And go ahead and close your eyes. Take a moment to close your eyes just to go with it. And this is a moment of just reconnecting to our own self, self with a capital S, that higher conscious space of being, away from the external, away from the noise, away from any distractions that may be consuming you. Just inviting you in to reconnect and de-excite the nervous system so we can come from a space of calm, clear energy. I'm going to pose some questions as you're sitting here in this meditation. Try not to think about the question, just allow yourself to feel the energy around it and see what comes up for you. So as you sit comfortably, go ahead and take a deep breath in through both of the nostrils of the nose. Let the air flow in to create that spaciousness and invitation. And as you exhale through the nostrils, just let the air flow out. Let it release. And then continue with the inhalations and exhalations. And bring your eyes, the gaze of your eyes, lift them upwards towards that space between your brows. It's known as the seat of the soul, third eye. And I'd like you to just imagine in that space, who are you? Or who am I? See what comes up for you. What is my purpose in this lifetime? Where do I need to begin? When will I activate this purpose? How? How am I feeling right now? How are you feeling right now? Just allow the mind to be on the breath. So just focus the mind on the breath. There's no need to quiet the mind. Meditation is not about quieting the mind. It's about actually just being with, being present with whatever arises, whatever comes up, not wanting it to be pushed away, not wanting it to be different, allowing it to percolate whatever arises without judgment, without opinions. Allow yourself to just be. Discover who you are. What is the intention, the purpose? When will you arrive at it? Where do you need to begin? And then continue to mindfully come back to how are you feeling in this body right now? And then go ahead and take a moment to reconnect with the breath. Take a deep inhalation, fill up those lungs, fill up your chest, and then take your time and exhale all that breath out as you open your eyes.
Girl, you know, I have to tell you, Kanan, what I loved and appreciated so much about that is I loved when you said, just let go where you need to go. Like there's no right way to do it. And
Yeah.
as someone who struggles with turning down the noise in my head, um, what would your advice be on how to create these moments of connection to our breath and meditation, especially as a woman juggling all of the things? Do you have any tips or tricks or things that you or rituals that you use?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And the first thing I would ask is why even stay connected to wanting to turn off the noise,
Mm,
right? The nature of the mind is to be with thoughts. The nature of the mind is to be with activity that's going on. That's the nature of the mind. That's the monkey mind, they call it, right? The monkey's jumping all over the place, thoughts being all over the place. So I would say first is not try not to push that away because that's something that a very creative, productive, energetic person like yourself probably needs to be in that space with a lot of information. You have a lot of information to share with the world. So I wouldn't necessarily want to push it away, but I would want to probably organize it
mm,
and give it a little bit of space for you to then rest in between the spaces. So you're not overwhelmed, or someone that is constantly in their head doesn't feel overwhelmed, that their nervous system then starts to
mm.
show up with symptoms, whether it's anxiety, irritation, restlessness, sleeplessness, right? So I
Yeah.
would say first thing in the morning, and this is what I do, and this is what works for me. So I can only share what I do, but the first thing I do in the morning is I wake up and I put my feet onto Mother Earth, onto the floor. I have this beautiful, wide planked wooden floor in my bedroom. So I feel really lucky that I get to really land my feet on it. And I start with gratitude.
Mm,
And I say, thank you. I
mm,
say, thank you to the Mother Earth. Thank you. And I offer gratitude for my ability to be here now.
mm,
And I just breathe. And I start to, acknowledge the people that I'm grateful for. And so for today, for example, because I'm always wanting to live in the present moment, I'm grateful that my older daughter is here from college. She's studying for her LSATs and she's living at home doing that. So I'm so grateful that I get to see her every day. I'm grateful that my dog curls up next to me. I'm grateful for getting on this podcast today. I mean, I felt really just loved to be offered this opportunity to share myself here. So I was thinking about you this morning, actually. I'm like, I'm going to have this moment with Megan, and that's going to be really special.
mm. I love
Get to
that.
see, yeah. Then I get to see, finish the day. I was at Loopwell. We're doing some amazing programming that's coming up. So exciting. I am so grateful for that vision and so grateful for that opportunity to be with Deb and her vision. So that really makes me feel thankful.
Mm,
And then to see my patients later and get to help them navigate their journeys and, their issues that they're coming in with and empower them. So I always say as a therapist, I get to edit people's stories and help them, empower themselves to change their stories to something that's a little bit more empowering and that they feel like they're in charge of and they can really help heal
mm.
themselves. Yeah.
And so that's beautiful, girl. And I love when you talked about being in the present moment. That has
Mm.
really been a struggle for me, especially as, and you nailed it, girl. My mind never stops. I'm always thinking about the next thing. I always got a to-do list, girl. Like this was just from this morning. It and one of the things that I am working on very diligently is trying to allow myself to be present in the moment in hand and
Hmm.
not constantly be focused on the next thing. Do you have any practices or any offerings or any beautiful nuggets that is the gift of you that you gift to your clients, to those that you stand beside on how to be aware and to tactically allow themselves to be in the present moment?
I would say if you find yourself that you're kind of escaping into your past
Mm,
or really jumping into your future, right?
mhm,
And as soon as you recognize that, so you are really aware, Megan, you're recognizing it and you're asking the question of how to stay present and
yeah.
mindful. One of the first things we can do is wherever you are in your space, you can scan your space. So right
Mhm,
now, me looking behind you, I already see, you have this beautiful framed word that says live with intention.
mhm,
So I would scan your physical space and choose three things in your physical space that you can connect to.
mm,
It's there, it's in the present.
mhm,
And then the next thing I would do is scan those three things, maybe write it down.
mm,
And so those are three things that you see. And then perhaps three things that you hear. You hear your breath. You're hearing that your mind is starting to think of these thoughts. Maybe you write down a thought or two that you're hearing, your mind percolating, right? And then so you have three things that you see, three things that you hear, and perhaps even three things that you can smell. So
mm,
you were using our senses.
mm,
So things that you hear, three things that you see, smell, three things that you can touch right now to remind you to be here now, to be present,
mm,
right? So you can just tip your hat right now, just because you know what your hat says. You can fix
mhm.
your glasses, right? You can fix your sweater. So that brings you back, in the tactile, I'm here right now.
You know
And
what I
then
love so much about that, Kanana, is I love the tactability and the microness of it. Keep going, keep going. I didn't mean to
yeah,
cut you off. You were on a beautiful train of thought there.
no, absolutely. And once you really connect to the senses, right? Then you can start to really get into what is it that's keeping me from being here now, right? What are some of those things? So a lot of it has to do with perhaps anxiety. There's some stress, there's some anxiety. So sometimes stress is just that we are not accepting the moment that's happening right now. And so therefore, we are escaping into our past for whatever reason, or we're jumping into our future for whatever reason that is, because the present moment right now is overwhelming.
Mm.
So then regrounding ourselves is and anchoring ourselves into the present moment. So that little mindfulness exercise of just, seeing, hearing, touching, smelling is really nice to kind of anchor us back in to the
Mm.
moment.
Now,
And
were
then
you?
writing thoughts down. I feel like writing, I mean, you had a whole thing of things that you wrote this morning, right? I think that was great.
I
That
gotta
was a
tell.
mindfulness tool.
I gotta tell you. I always say the power of the pen is what helped save me.
That's a great one. I love that. Power of the
Yeah,
pen.
yeah, the power of the pen. Kanan, I would love to know, were you looking back at your journey and the evolution of you? Were you always this sort of spiritually sound individual? Like, are you surprised at all that not only are you this beautiful therapist, but you're also leading the spiritual well-being piece of Loop Well?
Hmm.
Do you feel like that was always part of your journey? Or do you feel like, you know what, girl, I was going down a path, then I had to twist and turn and come back here? Like, I'd love to unpack the journey to get here for you.
That is a really good question. And I asked my mom that question the other day. I was asking my mom, just being on this path
Mm,
as a therapist, as a spiritual well-being director here at Loopwell, and things that I really enjoy doing, that I really enjoy doing, are things that are really calming, things that are
mm,
in nature, things that really are, with community of like-minded people. And I thrive in that. And that's what I really love to do. And she said that ever since I was younger, I was always the one that people would go to for advice. And I was always the one that would calm the storm.
mm,
And perhaps it was a coping mechanism actually back then. I don't know, as a young child, if that was even something that I, probably took on because it was so stressful that that was a way that I coped. I just kind of, you know, pushed things away, or maybe just kept myself calm under the
mm,
pressure of whatever the environment was about. And she said that I always had patience.
mm,
Always had patience. And then I remember I went to a few meditation seminars and retreats and stuff. And the guru or the teacher or the leader that was there that facilitated always said that, your superpower is tolerance.
ooh,
And I was like, oh, I go, my superpower is tolerance. And tolerance has a lot to do with that, not that you're going to take bad behavior, not that you're going to be codependent to bad behavior, although I think I probably was a little bit at one point in my life, but that you see the other person
mm.
and you're tolerating what the other person is showing up as without having to need to change it.
Ooh, that's good. So I immediately went to the trigger button, especially in our world, right? Where it's just, I even hate to use the word busy because I feel like that doesn't even describe what we're all trying to juggle with the pings and the dings of life, especially as women, right? With work and then home and the kids and whatever that looks like.
I
And
despise the word busy. Sorry to interrupt. Despise it.
what word do you use instead?
I have a full plate.
Mm,
I have a full plate. When you look at a plate and it has the vegetables, it has the protein, right? It's
mm,
got the salad. It looks colorful.
mm,
It looks appetizing. It looks inviting.
mm.
Busy to me sounds like, and it might be just me, like like I'm like busy. means that I'm making myself know that I am I have time for you. Too busy. I may not have time for you. So you're not on. I have so many things to do.
You know what, Kanan, you broke up on me there. Um, can you go back to, I'm just gonna cut that out. Can you go back to the plate? Where I lost you was the plate.
Sorry.
Oh, can you hear me, my girl?
Word. I'm busy. Yeah, I can hear. Yeah, I can hear. Can you
Oh no,
hear
you
me?
keep freezing up on me. Um, let me see.
I can hear you.
Okay. You know what? I wonder if I should just turn off the video piece if that'll save us. Mm. Okay, let's
Yeah.
try
I mean,
this.
I can hear you clearly.
Yeah, for some reason you keep breaking up on me. Okay. Oh man. You know what?
I can see and hear you clearly.
Yeah. You know what? Okay, now I can hear you. Now I can hear you.
Okay, great.
Per
So what I like to say is, yeah. So I like to try to be conscious of not using the word busy. And I like to say when someone says, you know, what's going on? How's your week? I like to respond with, you know, I have a full plate.
Mhm.
And a full plate to me is a plate that has uh, the the protein, the salad, maybe even a little dessert in there or something. It's a colorful plate. So my week is really colorful, filled with person, place, or things that I have. And I'm great to have the opportunity to do all those things. So when I hear busy, my mind goes to that. I feel stressful when I hear people say, "Oh, I'm so busy, I'm so busy." But instead, you know, if they kind of change the language around it, then it wouldn't feel so like this in their body. So where their shoulders are shrugged or they're feeling overwhelmed or their nervous system is starting to like, you know, override and stuff. So I feel like, why don't we just change the language that we're using?
Mm. That makes me
We have
flash.
this opportunity. No, go ahead.
Oh no, Kanan, you keep breaking up on me. Ah, I cannot hear you. What is happening?
I can hear you. You can't hear. Okay.
Oh God. I wonder if I need to. Looks like I'm connected here with full strength. What is happening?
Yeah, you're very clear to me, and I'm looking at my bars are all there, so I'm getting you very. I have a strong connection with you here right now.
Yeah, I don't. Okay. All right. Now I can see you and hear you. Okay. So I believe I'm able to cut out what you talked about with the plates. I believe I'm able to get that snippet. Um,
Perfect.
so if you just want to talk about what I was going to bring up to you was the power of the language that we use and the words that we choose to use.
Hmm.
And when I was hearing the plate analogy, Kanan, what it just made me think of is the gift of awareness in the stories that you're telling yourself.
Hmm.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. And so, when you were talking about the tolerance and the triggering and the awareness of it, I would love your feedback to in our accessible world where we can be on at all times and the resentment that comes from it. I just had this just yesterday where I was getting these beautiful text messages from friends and I was annoyed and I was like, everybody leave me alone. Um, and I took a 10-minute beat and I listened to something and it changed everything. I would love your feedback on how can we, when we catch ourselves going down that rabbit hole of feeling like we're triggered by all the things, um, to become aware, to rewire it, to not let it trigger us? Any recommendation on how to handle those moments?
Well, the first thing I would say is, do you take any social media breaks? I would take a little
Mm,
break, right? First and foremost, as soon as you start to see the first couple of messages coming through, I would really sit with my body. How am I feeling right now? How
mm,
am I? That last part of the meditation, how am I
mm,
in this present moment? I'm starting to feel whatever you used, your own words, what you were starting to feel. And as soon as you know you're feeling that, honor it.
mm,
That's your truth. Honor it that you're feeling agitated or leave me alone or whatever it is that you said. Um, and honor that and try not to push it away. And then perhaps put your phone on do not disturb and take a moment of a mindfulness minute.
mm,
I'm grateful for people reaching out to me, for thinking of me today.
mm,
And I will get back to them, you know, when I have a moment.
mm. I love that. I love that. Kanan, I want to talk to you about, when you and I were together and we started going down this beautiful conversation on the gift of spirituality and what it has meant in both of our lives. I would love to take this moment, and have you share with our tribe, what does spirituality mean to you in this moment?
Spirituality, to me, means the highest version of yourself, being the highest version of yourself. So it embodies all the other aspects, the physical, the emotional, mental, social,
Mhm,
um, and just embodying, being an embodiment of just all those things and not having to choose between religion or philosophy and science and not having to take sides even. So a spiritual being is a being that is evolving into a space of complete neutral fields of
mm,
acceptance. So it's a space of acceptance.
mm,
And it's like the highest, I think of like in psychology we have Maslow's pyramid of hierarchy and stuff. And the basic needs have to be met, right? Our physical needs have to be met. We need to make sure that we have a roof over our head and that we have food on our table. And a lot of people don't.
mm,
There's so many people in the world that don't. And that, that's what needs to be tended to then.
mm,
That physical space needs to feel safe. We need to feel safe first and foremost. But once you have that safety and you feel anchored and you have stability, from there, we can only grow.
mm,
So if the right conditions are there for us to grow and we have the resources for us to do that and we have the support, then we want to move towards that pinnacle. And that pinnacle, that point is to be that spiritual being. And spirit in Latin means the breath, be with the
mm,
breath, and the breath is here, breath is present. So anytime the breath feels like scientifically, if you are feeling stress or feeling overwhelmed, the breath becomes shallow
mm,
and it starts to sit here and you start to get tightness in your chest. But as soon as you feel like more spacious and more like just happy and joyful and alive, the breath is abundant,
mm,
right? So a spiritual being is recognizing that he or she is a field of abundance,
mm,
abundant energy. It's
mm,
conscious itself. It's just being in that realm of consciousness and not being stuck in matter of all things,
mm,
right? So
mhm,
matter is the skin, stuff that I'm wearing, what am I looking like, and then putting on some judgments and conditions,
mm,
that kind of stuff. So that is matter of things. So instead, going beyond that and knowing that matter is more finite because his body's going to wither. It's going to eventually go away. My identity, my name is Kanan. I am a therapist. I'm this spiritual well-being director. I'm a mother. I love to cook. I love to be with my dog, and I love being with my friends, whatever it might be, whatever I identify with. All that is temporary, but what's going to
Mm.
sustain and stay with is just being in that realm of consciousness where you know that you're just a pure essence. You're just pure being. You're just pure light.
Mm.
And that everything else is just filling the space.
I would love to hear your beautiful nuggets on to our listener that might be like, this is great. I love that you're spiritual light, Meg. Meg, I love that you have found your spiritual path. Um,
Yeah.
where do I start? Because that seems to me to be some of the hardest thing to unpack. Like, where do I even begin? Any nuggets? I don't know where our beautiful tribe can begin to build their own spirituality, draw an awareness and what feels right to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say first is don't try to define what spirituality is.
Mm.
Spirituality, a spiritual being is just a being that's living in the light, that wants to be present, that wants to bring more light into other beings, that wants
Mm.
to share more well-being experiences with other beings, that wants to take someone out of, suffering perhaps and traumatic events, and maybe wants to just, reconnect to resiliency. So it
Yeah.
might be maybe not really identifying, knowing that spirituality is so unattainable, but maybe just starting with, recognizing who you are beyond your identity.
Mm.
My name is Megan. I'm a podcaster and all these badass things that you do. But
Mm.
beyond that, who are you? And
Mm.
you're just pure light. You're a light of
Mm.
energy that is spreading this wisdom and spreading your light and connecting. You're a connector. You're connecting people to their own wisdom, their own light. And that's a spiritual being right there,
Mm. I love
right?
that, Kanan. That is a beautiful way to unpack something that can feel so complicated and intangible. I love that. Girl, I can
Good.
understand why you're the director of spiritual well-being at Loopwell, sister. Mic drop right there.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And with that, I want to say you don't have to follow a guru. You
Mm.
don't have to follow some, being out there that you have to look up to. You yourself are a teacher,
Mm.
yourselves are the teacher. We just have to connect to that highest part of ourselves, and that's spiritual itself. So, we have like the lower emotions that sit like navel and pelvis and below, which is a lot of the being unsafe, sufferings that we are feeling, anxiety and all that stuff. But we want to connect to the higher emotions. We want to kind of express ourselves through our hearts. And the
Mm.
heart is a space of really compassion and kindness and love.
Mm.
Love. And love is a verb, right? Love is action. Take action.
Mm. I gotta tell
Um,
you, this needs to be on a bumper sticker, t-shirt, hat, anything we can get this baby on. You are the teacher.
you are the teacher. Yeah.
Mm.
You are love. You are love. And then love connects us, to our voice. And I'm going over the chakras a little bit here, the energy centers of the body really quickly, but then it connects us to our voice to speak our truth,
Mm.
and from speaking our truth, which in Sanskrit means satyam. And then from there, it goes into Shivam. Shivam is goodness. So connecting to that third eye, connecting to that space, the seat of the soul, tapping into your goodness, tapping into the other's goodness. And then
Mm.
Sundaram, so it's Satyam Shivam and Sundaram. Sundaram to me is, and what it translates to is beauty,
Mm.
seeing the beauty in all beings
Mm.
in a very, clear way, truthful way.
Mm.
It's really about cultivating more peace, right? Bringing more peace, bringing more connections, bringing more inclusivity, bringing people together rather than bringing people apart, than severing things. So,
Girl, this has taken me to church. I have to tell you, one of the things that I have become so intentional about this year, Kanan, I am a type A in my heart. I love me. I was raised up in corporate America. I love me a little spreadsheet. I
I
love
think
me.
that's great.
And but I have found that I have lost, or I had lost so many beautiful human connection moments
Mhm,
because I was so dialed into what can I receive out of this, that it was this sort of receiving something relationship versus, and this is recent, when I can allow myself to be more aware, to show up with heart and authenticity and love, and know that there's a human on the other end of the screen and it's not about me receiving anything,
mhm.
have my days become just so soulful, and has brought these beautiful relationships that have reaped rewards that I never had when I was looking at it from a place of receiving. So I guess I say all that to say, Kanan, you are so spot on when you can become aware and lean in to bringing the gift of love into the rooms that you're in and being aware of
Yes.
it.
And you just reminded me, Megan, and what you said was so perfect because it has to do with spirituality.
Mm.
So, spirituality is the head and heart being connected as one, right? It is the union of it. And spirituality is also to be of service.
Mm.
So, not only having the equal exchange of giving, and receiving, but also knowing that I'm going to give without wanting to have to receive. Right?
Yes.
It's gonna be not a conditioned response. I'm not giving to get, I'm giving from my heart
Hmm.
because it's an offering. I wanna offer. And whatever
Oh.
it might be, something of matter, it might be something that's just your words, or it might be someone just texting you. I was just thinking of you today. I just wanna say you're an awesome person.
Mm.
Right? It might just make someone's day to hear that if they're going through something, and maybe you're feeling their energy. So, like your friends that you were talked about that texted you, they were feeling your energy, maybe just wanted to text you and, uh, and just acknowledge
I love
who you
that.
are and your presence in their life.
And girl, that's a beautiful full circle moment back to what we kicked off, leaning into the energy and being aware of it. And so, Kanan, you are doing really beautiful, badass things with amazing humans and women at Loopwell. And I would love for
I hope I
I know you are. I know
am.
you are, my girl. And I would love for you to talk about some of the things coming up at Loopwell that you're working on because they are so damn powerful.
Thank you so much. And before I answer that, I wanted to make sure I answered your question for your viewers of how to connect to their spirituality.
Yes.
One of the first things I would say again is to be with your breath.
Mm,
Acknowledge that you're breathing and acknowledge your breath and notice how you're feeling in the moment. So
mm,
every time you do something, just how am I feeling right now? Just check in time to time. How is my head feeling? How is my heart feeling?
mm,
How's my body feeling? And if you need to write it down, write it down. If you want to just take a mindful minute to close your eyes or even just focus, place your awareness on one point in your space, wherever you are. Take a moment to be with yourself. And that's
mm,
spiritual care. That's how you begin this journey of
mm.
being present.
That's beautiful.
And always serve, always like offer something, whether it's like just, telling a friend that you love her or you were thinking about her, or picking up the groceries for your partner or making a meal, anything. Offer, just make it an offering. Doesn't have to be anything lavish or expensive. Nothing is big or small
Mm,
in that space of spirituality.
that's beautiful, my friend. Thank you for
Yeah,
that.
I hope that helps with the viewers. And then as far as Loopwell, we have, oh my God, Debbie is such a badass. That woman has so much creativity,
Mm,
and she is a connector. And
yeah.
honestly, like the more and more I work with her, the more and more I see um how much She loves people.
Mm.
People. And like I don't even think I've ever told her that actually. This is the
Mm.
first time even mentioning it to you because I observed that in her. I'm more of I like to retreat. I like to
Mm.
have my private time. I
Mm-hmm.
like to I like to have my community. I like to go to my meditation spaces. I like to be, but Debbie is always in company of other wonderful people, especially
Mm.
women.
Mm.
She's in the company of some great women, and she
Mm.
wants to really foster um, a space where it will just thrive and actually
Mm.
flourish into this space that brings great minds together, great hearts together.
Mm.
And she really has such wisdom and she really has a lot of, she's a visionary. That's what I want to say. She's a visionary. With that being said, um, she has some great programming, which I'm so grateful to be a part of, to also bring with her to the world and stuff. We have someone really amazing in the wellness space that's coming very soon. He is, I'm going to say it's a he, but I'm going to mention it. Hell,
Wait, drop it, baby.
I'm going to drop it. Deepak Chopra is coming to Loopwell October 20th.
Woo!
I mean, think about spirituality. This man is really wanting to bring spirituality and even science and he's a sage. We just went to a conference, Sages and Scientists. He is really a living sage that's
Mm.
bringing um evidence-based wisdom and
Mm.
really bridging spirituality and science together, which is pretty hard, I think, to do. So he really is pioneering that. So I love that. So he's going to be at Lupo. His book is going to be there. We're going to have an experience with him. And then we also have a couple of great things coming up this month, actually. Satya's been there. Satya Sketanetti is the founder of Satya Jewelry. And why I'm mentioning her is because she's a dear friend of mine, but also I've been with her on a pilgrimage to India, and we visited some orphanages. And one of the orphanages that we've visited was known as Ramona's Garden,
Mm.
which brings women and children that are underserved to a community where they have, a space to live, they get educated. So she takes a big portion of her sales every year, and she donates to a couple of several different charities, including Ramona's Garden. So she does really good. She makes beautiful jewelry, but it's not about just wearing jewelry, right? It's about wearing jewelry and having meaning behind it and
Mm.
her own journey of giving back and doing good for the other. So whenever I wear her stuff, it's like I'm reminded, oh, you know what? This is doing good for someone else too. Not only does it look good on me or I like wearing it because it's a piece of jewelry, but it's actually doing good. And I kind of feel grateful. Like I feel great that I'm using it in that capacity.
Mm. I
So
love
she's
that.
someone that's always there. That's Loopwell. She's, it's the only space that she does a pop-up
Mm.
in this area. So I'm grateful to have her.
Mm.
And what about you? Megan Miller is at Loopwell.
That's right. Sandwich me right in between Deepak and the beautiful woman making jewelry. I am October
Why not?
15th, y'all. Yes, why
Yeah,
not? We are linking
why
arms.
not? We're so grateful to have you. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm with that.
yes, yes. So y'all, I am going to link Loopwell below. They also launched membership options.
Mhm.
So if you live around the New York City area and can get to Montclair, please check it out. The space is amazing.
It's only 12 miles from New York City. The train is accessible, 10-minute walk from the train station. The membership gives you so much. And you know what? Who the heck does not want to belong to a social well-being club? I
Right?
do. Sign me up with other like-minded people, with activities, with authors that are coming with great wisdom, great books, with speakers like Megan Miller, like yourself. So yeah, I think it's a wonderful space. It's the country club that we all should be belonging to, right?
Mm, I preach
Yeah.
that. And Kanan, you also my dear, accept individual clients as well, right? So if any of our
I do.
tribe is listening and they would love one-on-one time with you or are curious about that, where can they find you?
They can find me. So my website is kanankapila.com, KANANKAPILA.com. I am a licensed psychotherapist. I'm also um, a coach. So if anybody wants to, you know, get in touch with me that's out of state, outside of New Jersey, and wants to do a coaching session or two with me, I'm also a clinical hypnotherapist.
Mm.
So if there's any kind of behaviors that you want to work on, that you want to transform, hypnotherapy really works really well with coaching and therapy. Yeah.
Y'all, I'm going to link it below. Please check out. I cannot advocate enough for hypnotherapy. If you're curious about it, it has worked and wonders for your girl. So I thank
Oh,
you.
great. That's good to know.
I cannot advocate for it enough. Always struggled with talk therapy. But hypnotherapy, I really felt a connection with. So my girl, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for making a space for our
Thank
tribe.
you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Megan.
You are beautiful and powerful in a way that is you. And this is your girl Meg telling you keep bringing you to the rooms that you're in because baby it is felt and it's how your people found you and I'm so grateful I found you and I'm so grateful our tribe has now found you.
I'm so grateful for you too. I so appreciate you. So appreciate it.
Mwah.
Thank